Hello, and welcome to episode 98 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Brian.
I'm James.
98 is really close to 100.
It is. We're getting there.
We are
Actually,
getting
100 will be like the Christmas episode, right?
Or really close to it, yeah, because, like the 15th or something.
Yeah, wow.
Wow. So if you would like to get at us on Twitter for ideas about what we should do for our 100th episode, you can tweet at us at CasualTryPod.
Yeah, you can also hit us up on Facebook at CasualTryHardMTG. You can drop us an email, show@CasualTryHardMTG.com. If you're looking to pick up any singles from Commander Legends or whatever you're looking for, Christmas presents, otherwise, make sure you use our TCG player affiliate link, tcg.casualtryhardmtg.com. It brings you right to the TCG player website, and there's no extra work involved. And anything you purchase after following that link will get a small sliver up to help keep the show rolling. It'll really help us out. If you want to support us a little bit more directly, you can do so at patreon.com/casualtryhardmtg. Our patrons get early access to show notes. They get access to a special pre-show that we record just for them and totally isn't us just catching up the once a week anyway.
Totally not.
Totally not. That usually goes up on Tuesday. The show notes usually go up on Wednesday, and the show is posted everywhere on Thursday. So patrons get access to that kind of stuff. If you are interested, we do have a Discord channel. Lots of cool people hanging out in there, talking about all sorts of different stuff. There is a room in our Discord channel specifically for show ideas. So if you guys do have anything you want to contribute, hear about, have questions, you can post up in there. If you have a special idea for our 100th episode, you can throw that in there as well. There's a link to our Discord in the description. There's a link on Facebook. There's a link on Twitter. And if you can't find that link anywhere, you can shoot us a message, drop us an email, however you may, and we'll send you a personalized link to get you in the discussion.
So we have basically two things that are very arena related we want to talk about. One is the financial side of arena has shown up in the community a little in the last week, and then we wanted to talk about something that came up in the Discord about like where are the fun things to do on arena.
Yeah, it's kind of popped up a couple times, and we've touched on it on the show once or twice, but I figure we're gonna discuss it today.
Yeah, so the issue of arena finance was kind of brought to light because in the span of like 3 or 4 days, like last Monday, right before we recorded, there was a Saffron Olive video where he calculated that he spent $1,700. I think it was $740 or something on arena over the last year, which
That's
is
kind of insane.
Godly sum of money.
Right.
And then Pleasant Kenobi made a video just about how the lack of some sort of dusting system or way to trade in cards just kind of like ends up bleeding you. Right? Because you get all these cards that, while they might be standard playable, don't translate to historic.
Right.
And historic is kind of becoming like modern, and it has stopped being that place you play your favorite old standard deck.
Yeah.
To like a place that has its own like metagame. So, your whatever from like a previous standard. I'm trying to think.
That's for Doom.
Yeah. You're not going to play that deck in historic. Or you're not going to be able to play, like, Sorin.
Right.
3-mana Sorin as a competitive, like, I'm going to play vampires. Like, you can play vampires. But you're probably going to have a bad time.
Yeah. You're going to get goblined.
Yeah. And it'd be like, woo, I put in my 4/4 goblin and I drew my 4/4 vampire and I drew 3 cards. And they're just like...
Yeah. I put in my 4/4 goblin and I drew 6 cards and then didn't have to cast them and they just went on the battlefield.
Yeah. I got 20 mana. Woo! And you're like, oh, that's less impressive.
Yeah.
Or the worst is when they get the matron, they get another one, right? Another Mexus. Then they sack 6 cards, and they're like, run it back. I can do
That
better.
one wasn't good enough.
Those 6 goblins weren't good enough. The Cranko that made 7 goblins, I need to do that again. I just need fodder. So we are pretty sure we didn't talk about this last week. Kind of wanted to touch on like what our kind of financial input into the game has been, and in comparison to one Seth, better known as Saffron Olive, at his $1,700. Now he does point out that he is a unique consumer in that, right? Like, he starts making videos about the new set as soon as the new set's on Arena. So he has to like have access to the cards to make videos.
Yeah.
And since he's also making like strange weird videos, he needs strange weird cards.
Yeah.
Right? So like, I'm going to look at Combustible Gearhulk and be like, yep, don't need any more of those than the one I drafted.
Yeah.
Ever. He played an all Gearhulk deck. So he needs 4 Combustible Gearhulks so he can Gearhulk people.
Yeah.
Right?
There's one more thing to keep in mind, and like, I don't mean to disrespect anybody, and I certainly don't want to talk down about other content creators, but the people that seem to be complaining recently are the people that tend to make lots of videos complaining about Magic.
This is true.
And I don't know how much is that and how much is obviously there's something wrong with the system. Like, I think everybody can see that there are issues with the system, but I don't know how much of it is just complaining because you're a complainer either.
Or, we're in like the content doldrums. Right. And it's like, I got to put out 4 videos a week. Yeah. And if you won't say it, I will. Clearly your beard is the best beard in Magic Esports. Take that, PK and Seth. The best beard is right here.
The gauntlet's been thrown.
Gauntlet has been thrown. Have you ever gone to Baltimore a year apart and had the waitress go like, I remember you from that beard.
I remember that beard.
Yes, James has.
That's right.
So, yeah, that is true. I mean, so the $1,700 is ridiculous, and he bills it to MTG Goldfish.
Right.
They pay it for him. So,
it's not like he's ponying up.
Yeah, I would be way more apt to perhaps open 200 random packs for a given set if I could just expense it to my job.
The bill.
Yeah. Dear Coastal Carolina University. Yes, I would like
200 booster packs, Kaladesh Remastered, please.
Chop chop. So that is a different situation. But some of the complaints that have come up, particularly, we've brought up before, the like weirdness of the like duplicate protection on rares and mythics is not great. Okay, it is not great. So first, let's say how much we've put in. I've put in this year between 200 and 300. I think it's 2, but I'm not 100% sure.
All right. I don't put all mine in at once. I put money in per set. Typically I only put in $20, and then if I particularly enjoy the draft format, maybe when I run out, I'll put in another 20. But I don't think I've ever put in more than 40. And I would say more often than not, I only put in 20.
Yeah.
So we had Jumpstart, Core 21, Amonkhet, Zendikar, Kaladesh this year. Was Ikoria the fall set last year?
No, Ikoria was in May or April.
Oh, Ikoria was in May.
So was Theros.
So we had Theros. So Theros, Ikoria, Core 21, Jumpstart, Amonkhet, Kaladesh, Zendikar.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So that's
7
one.
sets, so
One.
maybe just under $200.
Okay. So I put mine in, like we've said, $100 at a time,
Yeah.
and then I spend about half
Yeah.
on a given release. So like for Zendikar was where my spot to put in money, and I actually on that $50 did 45 or something Zendikar drafts and 35 Kaladesh drafts.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
$1 a draft.
Basically $1 a draft, maybe a little bit less. So, like we are able to kind of have like a longer game in terms of like we don't have to have all of the cards in standard to like make that super cool, video the first day, right?
Or ever.
Or ever. We never make you guys videos. I'm sorry. But
Yeah, I made a video. I posted it.
You did. I appreciate that. Life was rough. Tiny Terrorist was like, nah, no sleep. I was like, dude.
No for you.
Yeah, no sleep for you. I was like, come on, man. But I don't know. I would think that like if you spent between $100 and $200 on the platform, you can get a pretty reasonable collection.
Oh yeah.
And in like a year, and you'll be able to do like kind of pretty much whatever standard decks you want.
Yeah, at least everything of an archetype. Like I tend to play the same archetypes no matter what the format is. Like I play something aggro / mid-rangey, and my colors usually contain black, red, and green. Like I don't need to get the random angels or sphinxes or whatever from a set because I'm never gonna play them.
Yeah.
So like that kind of helps too. Like if you only ever play a couple archetypes, then like it helps to limit what you need to spend your wild cards on. And even like with the lands was kind of one of the things that Pleasant Kenobi and Saffron Olive were complaining about, was how many wild cards you need to use just to get like a mana base for a standard deck. And like I don't really ever play white, and sometimes I splash blue, but I don't typically need like play sets of all the blue duels. So I really only need like half of the dual lands for a format, and that really saves how many like wild cards I need to blow just in my mana base.
Yeah. And I think just being able to like slowly accrue cards, if you're okay with that, particularly like for like historic, like slowly getting your wild cards through, like taking a season and getting a bunch of packs and getting your wild cards that way.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, ooh, I have to have Aetherworks Marvel like on the first day.
Yeah.
Like it's just going to like save you like long term. Like I think for Amonkhet, I didn't put any money into it. I just like got Rest in Peace, Thoughtseize, and Collected Company. Yeah. I was like, these are the cards that I will definitely play, and I've not put a Rest in Peace or a Collected Company in a deck yet. So good job, me.
You didn't play any of that Jund Company deck when it was floating around?
Nope.
That deck was sweet. And it had a combo finish. You'd have liked that.
Yeah, but then I could just turn 4 combo them instead, and that was better.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're tapped out for a Mayhem Devil? You're dead. You're dead. Good story. Oh, you Thoughtseize me twice? You're still dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, like being patient. I think especially if you're not someone who wants to put a lot of money into like chase what the metagame is, like just waiting a week or two and spending that time like drafting and slowly accumulating your collection that way will like let the metagame settle out. So like you can be like, oh man, like Aetherflux Aetherworks Marvel is no good.
Yeah.
I don't need those cards. No one's playing that card. Right? It's not like in paper where if Marvel's good, you missed your chance to get it at $1.
Right.
and now it's $10.
Yeah, on Arena, it's going to cost the same no matter when you buy in.
Yeah, so it doesn't, like, you don't have to have them on day one.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that they both brought up that is, I think, a bigger problem, we've talked about it before, is just the fact that, like, the duplicate protection really isn't duplicate protection.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Across sets, if they print the same card,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to get duplicates. So, the temples.
Yeah.
Right? So
Fabled
we had...
Passage.
Yeah, so we had the temples, and then they put the temples in the core set, and same with Fabled Passage, right? Cool, like Fabled Passage, particularly for like for paper magic, to get that card from $10 or $12 to $6 or whatever, is good. But the fact that it's the exact same card, even if like the art is different, right? It's the same card. Now, for the core set, they were like, oh, we're going to make them the last rares you open.
Mm-hmm.
Effectively, right? If you already have them, they're the last rares. Like, if you can make them the last rares, you can just make them rares I don't open.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because even, right, on some level, when I got down to the 5 temples in the 4 Fabled Passages, right, that's 480 gems I didn't get.
Right.
Because I already had them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I like look at the like M20 logo and go like, oh yeah,
that's what I need in my life.
M19, get out of here. No. M20 logo. Like, no, it's this same card.
Yeah.
And like when you go through your collection and there's just like a million of a card.
Yeah.
Right. It would be good if like you could take 4 of a common that you have 12 of, and just be like, I'm going to turn these 4 commons into 1 common wild card.
Yeah.
And I'll turn these 4 rares that I already have into 1 rare wild card.
Mm-hmm.
Just something.
That'd be great.
Just let me get out of some of these cards.
Yeah.
And even if you only did it for the stuff that you've like, you know, got 4 versions of the same thing.
Right.
Right, you've just changed the set symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just let me get rid of those.
Duress.
Here's 4 different versions of Duress. Cool.
Yeah. There's actually 5 versions of Duress on Arena right now.
Yeah, like we don't know. We need 1 version of Duress.
Yeah.
And
the one with the Urza's art.
Correct. But like at that point it should just be like a cosmetic. Right?
Yeah.
It should just be like Duress. Pick which one you want to use.
Oh, that'd be so much nicer.
Not Duress, 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 Duress.
Yeah.
Right, like, that's the thing, like, if you think about, so Arena's been around for, like in, like, open beta for 2 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, because I started playing in guilds.
Okay.
And guilds just rotated out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been about 2 years. And think about in like 5 years, how many pages of Duresses are you going to have?
Oh, way too many.
Like, even beyond the like fact that on some level they're like screwing you out of like rares, right?
Yeah.
They're also just taking up clicks.
Mm-hmm.
I got to click through all these like Duresses.
Well, I mean, I stopped selecting. Like I used to make it a point when I'd build a deck to change the basics out for like a basic that I wanted. It is so laborious to find a basic that you want. I don't even bother anymore.
Yep. Nope. Done. Not whatever you're putting in. I am good with. I would like to get to my games now.
Yeah.
I don't care that
much. It's like a
minimum
of 10 clicks to find the right basic.
Yeah. But I like the point of like, let's say you played a bunch of Jumpstart and you got like Rishkar, Pima Renegade.
Right.
Cool. And then you played Kaladesh, and then you, for some reason, bought a bunch of Kaladesh remastered packs. Or you drafted, and you got a bunch of Kaladesh remastered packs.
Mm-hmm.
You effectively opened four packs that had no rare in them.
Right.
If you opened 4 Rishkar Pima Renegades.
Yeah, because they do you actual no good.
Which I thought was a good way of thinking of it, is like, you are basically not getting a rare from that pack.
Yep.
And like, if you think about like how much a pack is, like, what is it, 100 gold?
1,000.
Or 1,000 gold and 100 gems, right?
Yep.
Right? So you open a pack and you already have the rare, and they give you a fifth of the pack's value.
Right.
Right? So, like, basically, you got nothing, because on some level, commons and uncommons are, like, worthless.
Well, I mean, going back to what we were talking about with if you approach the format of, putting some money in and then drafting, by the time I'm done drafting, I may be missing like 20 commons and uncommons total from the set.
Yeah, you just have all of them.
Yeah, I mean, even commons and uncommons are worthless.
Yeah, so like, basically, the proposition there is turn your 100 gems into 20 gems.
Right.
And some minuscule amount of vault progress.
Yeah.
So, like, they're making out like bandits on that transaction anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, if they did that more often, if they were just like, you know what? We're going to make it so you don't have... So, you can't open a Rishkar Pima Renegade in your packs.
Yeah.
Or if you do, it's just 20 gems. Because we're just going to auto-fill that you have that card already.
Right.
Right? Like, that would be better for the consumer.
Yes.
Right? And I mean, I don't think it would change that much, like, people's, like, pack opening.
No, I don't think so.
Like, it would just make people feel better when they did it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there is some, like, small, like, completionist subset of arena players
that just needs everything.
That just wants to collect them all. They're like, I can have 4 of the Planeswalker deck. Planeswalkers, gotta get those. Right? Like, there's someone that's doing that. And God bless him. Like, if that's what makes him happy.
Pokemon on Arena?
Yeah, exactly. Gotta catch them all. Cool. Right. Do your thing. But for the most of us, we just want the cards to be able to play. When we have them, just stop giving them to us.
Arena's going to be around for a while, obviously. How bad is it going to be when they start reprinting Mythics? Like we had, was it Core 13-14 or 14-15? Both had the same Liliana in them.
I was going to say, like, didn't we have, like, back-to-back core sets that had the Titans?
Oh,
like,
yeah. 11 and 12. Yeah.
Have the Titans.
Yeah.
Like, we've already seen Baneslayer Angel reprinted. Right? Baneslayer Angel is a recent set, but it's from, 14? 13 or something? Yeah.
Yep. So how bad is that going to feel when you already have your Massacre Worms, and then in 2023, course set 2024 has Massacre Worms?
Yeah, you're just going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just wasted like 4 mythics on this. Like, I could have some other 4 mythics.
Yeah.
And like, Magic Online, the interface is not the best when it comes to like,
put it lightly,
when it comes to like finding cards and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like Arena is like backing themselves into that same corner where you're like, I want to build a historic deck. And like we said, there's a page of duresses.
Yeah.
That you've got to like click through to like find the card you want. And I know you can like search and use the search functionality, but like, come on, like I don't need to be like, they bring up the little shortcut window. I'm like, I don't need to code to find my card. Like C equals B, comma, like A. I'm like, no, I just need to find the card. So like at some point they need to like collapse these together.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes more sense if it was just like, you have all 4 of your duresses. Congratulations.
Yep.
Now, pull down window. What set symbol do you want on your duress? 2 gears, please. 2 gears. Right? Like, they could do that, and it would just be fine.
Yeah.
Like, I guess there reaches a point where, like, you, like, people would, in theory, like, have a lot of, like, a core set, but, like, the core set philosophy has changed, right?
Oh,
Core
yeah.
sets used to be, like,
very much so.
Used to be, like, almost all reprints.
Yeah.
They were almost, almost like a cube. Where, like,
Yep.
we're going to take all these cards that already exist, and we're going to add, like, 12 new cards.
Yep.
And now it's like, hey, we're going to, like, make all new cards, and we're going to put, like, 12 high-value reprints.
Yeah. And the cards are going to be like Veil of Summer.
Yes. Veil of Summer.
Yeah.
Field of the Dead.
Field of the Dead. Scape Shift.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Scape Shift was at least old, right? But it was
Right,
like,
yeah.
hey, here are these new cards that you want to have, and then
Yeah.
we're gonna throw in some like cards that like for paper need reprinted,
Yeah.
right? But like, what if Omniscience goes to like $45 in paper again, or something, right? And it's like, oh, or Scape Shift goes to $45 in paper,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, oh well, we need to reprint Scape Shift,
Mhm.
but we don't want to because the people on Arena are going to be mad because they've already had their Mythic.
So what you're talking about is Crucible of Worlds.
Yes?
Is $45-$50 right now.
Dear God.
Yep.
Commander people, calm down. You need one. One. So they're like stupid expensive. And like if they printed them in like Core 2022, which I guess
Yep.
doesn't exist, right? It's like that's
Oh
the
yeah, we're not
Dungeons
getting
and
core
Dragons
sets
set,
this year. Yep.
right? So they put it in Dungeons and Dragons world,
Yep.
right? Then people are gonna be mad on Arena because like I already have my Crucibles.
Yeah.
I don't need these. So
Yeah, they've used the same artwork like every time Crucible's been printed except for the Masterpiece.
Yep.
So it's not going to have new artwork.
Yeah. And that was a point that like PK brought up was
Yeah.
like in paper we want reprints all the time because it drives prices down. But on Arena reprints are bad.
Right.
And is this going to like impact the reprint policy going forward? Because like are you more interested in keeping the Arena players happy or the paper players happy?
Well, it depends if you're allowed to play Paper Magic, I guess.
This is true. But like just the idea that, we're going to change how we reprint or how we build sets in paper because of Arena, right? Like it seems like we should fix this before it actually happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't imagine, like I said, if they were able to move the rare lands to be the last packs that you open.
Yeah, they could just as easily make you not open them.
Yeah, you'd just be like, you start getting gems. If you have 4 of them across everything, you start getting gems. And they should just make it like a cosmetic. So you should be able to match them all, right?
Yep.
You'd be like, okay, you have 4. What set symbol do you want on them?
Yeah.
As opposed to, you have 3 of this one and like 3 Theros and like 1 core set. So now you got to have them mismatched. Like, no, just give them all. Like they should just all go in the same like box of these are temples.
Yep.
This is a temple of mystery. Ta-da! Doesn't matter where you got them from. I can't imagine that it changes their bottom line that much, if like at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
And, it might be like, maybe not everyone gets to the end of all of their rares. Where like, I don't know how many people were like me and ran into the like, oh yay, I get to hit open 10 twice and just open 10 temples I already have.
I actually did that today, the ladder reset or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I got paid out and I opened all my Zendikar packs that I got and all I got was gems.
Yeah. I mean, I'm almost to that point, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, you just don't have like there's just I don't know how many people get there, but even if you don't get there, I think it still feels bad.
Yeah.
Right? So
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if you're getting to that point, like those are all prize packs anyway. Like if you're to the point where the last 20 rares you need are all rares from the land cycle that's already been printed. You haven't opened them yet unless you did drafts because they've been pushed to the end and you have them all. And obviously you're not going to buy packs to get land cards that you already own. You know what I mean? You're not going to spend your in-game currency on packs of a set that will only net you land cards. So those packs are almost guaranteed to always be prize packs, right?
Yeah, like let's say you're, Saffron Olive and you spend $200
Yeah.
and you just like open a bunch of packs. Is it like it would be like, is that like 100 packs? Just $200, 200 packs? Something like that,
No,
right?
because I think you can buy the bundles, right? The bundles
Yeah.
have more packs in them.
But like
If you bypass the in-game currency and just buy like the land or just pay money for the packs,
yeah.
I think you get more packs per dollar.
Okay. But whatever, you've opened 200, 250 packs.
Yeah.
Right? Like just reward the person by giving them some in-game currency.
Right.
They gave you $250 or $200 for effectively nothing.
Yeah.
And, I guess this is like, because I'm old, right? This is like kind of we now give money to video game people for effectively nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I want the cool dance on my Fortnite guy. I want him to be a spaceman, and I want him to do the chicken. And you're like, well, spaceman's $3 and the chicken's $1. Gimme. And you just
$4 reduce, please.
Yeah, you just give him $4 for nothing. Right. One of my colleagues was like, "Oh yeah, my son spent money on Fortnite," and I was like, "Do the costumes like make your character have different stats?" No. It's like, oh, why? Like, you could maybe convince me. It's like, oh, this costume makes you run faster. Okay, cool. Yeah. Nope. All just the same thing. Like, I want my fall guy to have polka dots. It's like, oh god. Does he run faster? No, he still falls the same like an idiot. No. Right. Yeah. So but yeah, just reward your player who gave you a bunch of money for something that like on some level didn't cost anything for you to produce for that player.
Right.
Right, because at some point like you've paid all your production and like, server costs.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saffron Olive walks up with $200 and you're like, oh man, this is just $200 of like pure cold profit.
Nice.
Awesome. Thanks, Saffron.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Instead of all your prize packs just being crap you already have, here's 400 gems.
Right.
Thanks, buddy.
Or here's a wild card instead.
Yeah, here's a wild. I think that would be too far.
You think so?
I think so. Like, imagine if you got to your last like if you just like all your prize packs just became wild cards.
Well, no. I didn't mean like each prize pack was a wild card. I meant like, each play set was a wild card.
Oh yeah, like hey, you
like open 20
these
packs. Here's 5 wild cards.
Yeah, like everything that you already have like is a quarter of a wild card. Like we won't let you dust because part of it, according to Ryan Spain, it's Ryan Spain's who developed part of the no dusting policy.
Mm-hmm.
The original host of Limited Resources, is he wanted to make sure that there was one less thing you had to think about as a player.
Okay.
Right. He didn't want you to have to think like, do I need to save this or do I need to dust it so I can play this other deck? And then, oh no, I wish I wouldn't have dusted that. Then you have to like start over. He wanted to avoid that feel bad.
Yeah.
Fine. Understand. But like then like it runs into the feel bad of like, now I can't get anything for these. So if it was like, hey, if you open past your playset, we're going to like give you like extra steps on the like the rare wheel.
Vault. Yeah. Oh yeah, that too.
Right. So because basically it's like, hey, this pack is worth, if you already have it because it's from another set, we're going to give you 2 steps on the rare wheel as opposed to 1 for opening the pack.
Yeah.
Like that would be, I think people could get behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And that wouldn't be like a difficult thing to do.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think the economy is unfair to players if you're willing to play.
Yeah, and like that was kind of like listening to both of those videos and listening to both of them kind of rant. That was kind of my takeaway is, like I said, I put somewhere between 20 and $40 in, depending on how much I like the limited environment. And that's like per release. And that's all I do. I get way more enjoyment out of that 20 or $40 than what 20 or $40 is worth to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I was going to go down to my LGS and draft, it's $15. Like that's pretty close to the $20 I spend on a release. I get a night worth of drafting out of my $15 at the LGS, which I love. You know, I'm not complaining that, you know, drafting in person is awesome, but I get at the very minimum, I get 3 or 4 drafts out of that $20. And more often than not, I get more than 10 out of that $20.
Yeah. I mean,
so like the amount of time playing, like enjoyment that I get is worth way more than $20 to me.
So when I was a kid, there were these things, I think we called them movies, where you would go, you'd go to a place and you'd like watch a really big TV.
Yeah.
And they would like,
that was like in the before times, right?
Yeah. And they would charge you admission, and it was like sometimes like $10 to go sit in front of this big TV. And then they would charge you like, you know, $7 for 3 cents worth of popcorn, and you were happy about it. Right. And you would watch this movie, this moving picture for 2 hours.
Yep.
And you were out, you know, 10, or, you know, if you took your wife with you, $20. And then you got like an icy, and now you're out like 30. Right? For like 2 hours. And so if you like, you know, my number is like $50, like a main standard release. Right?
Yeah.
Right. That's going to see 2 movies. That's like 4 hours of entertainment. Like I will like some nights sit and just do 4 or 5 drafts.
Mm-hmm.
And like be nowhere near spending my $50.
Yeah. And like enjoying the hell out of yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, right, like it's, if you're willing to play, it's not bad, but I do think that the economy is not great. Yeah. If like you're just like, here, take credit card, give me all cards.
Yeah.
And they're just like, excellent, cool.
Like I think we're running into a weird like observation. I don't know what you want to call it. Like I think we're a little bit biased because we're in like a certain skill set and a certain, you know, time with the game where like we've got a routine down. We know how to approach a set release where, you know, can get a reasonable return on investment as far as like, you know, breaking even in a draft. I think like we're in the middle and we're okay. I can absolutely see people like Saffron Olive and Pleasant Kenobi that are doing, you know, streams and making a living that way and having to have all of the cards right away. I can understand that. And I also think that there's a large group of people, probably a lot of our listeners are on like the opposite spectrum, where every time a set comes out, you're viewing it as, I really want to play this deck. How much money am I going to have to dump into this game to get enough wild cards to play, you know, whatever, especially after a rotation, you know, how many wild cards am I going to have to blow to buy a mana base and the mythics I need and all this stuff to play this deck that I want. And I can understand from those two perspectives where the arena economy is failing them.
Yeah, where you just feel like you're priced out of everything. Yeah. I think there was a tweet from Cube April, and she said that Historic's the first Magic format she's ever felt priced out of, like other than Legacy and Vintage.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, interesting. I think also like it does make it hard. Like if you were to just show up to Arena for Zendikar Rising,
right?
Like I think like going from 0 to like a playable deck,
Yeah.
like, seems very daunting. Like, you could not really ever like touch historic.
No, absolutely not.
Also, like you said, we're in the middle, like win rate wise and whatnot. Like, our like draft plan that we always talk about, like, oh, just draft the set. Like, that works at like 55 to 60% win rate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at 60%, you're like break even or just under.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You will eventually like run out of magic beans.
Right.
If you're at like 60%, because like it's never like the perfect, it's never I always go 5-3 or 4-3, right?
Yeah.
You throw in like the stinker in there every so often, right? Like you have to be 65 to 70% win rate to like go infinite and like go up.
Yeah.
And like if you're at like a 50% win rate, even if you're like at like I 3-3 every single draft I do, like you're done with your drafts pretty quick.
Yes.
Right? Like if you like $20 is how many gems? Is it like 2,500 or 3,000 or something?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Well, so I use 10,000, right? That's $50 worth, right?
Yeah.
If you went 3-3 every time, if you got 50%, never above, never below, just always 3-3, I think that's 20 drafts.
Okay.
And then you're done.
Yeah.
And you end up with 60 prize packs. I think you get 3 prize packs for 3 wins.
That sounds about right.
You get 2 or 3. I think it's 3. Right? And so like you're done. Right? You have to be on the plus side of 50%.
Yeah.
And right, for some people they don't like draft, so like draft is not a thing that they can do to build their collection.
Yeah.
Or they might not be good at it.
$20 is 3,400 gems.
3,400, so it'd be 7 drafts basically.
Yep.
Give or take.
Yep.
So, right, but like if you don't like the draft or you're not good at it, right, you can get better, but that can be a costly endeavor. Like
absolutely.
A couple 1-3s and you're just like, "Oh man, I have no money left."
Yeah, you're just lighting money on fire.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think if you're willing to like play and grind, like we had someone in Discord today said like I have 15,000 gold. How should I like build my collection? And I was like, I think you should try to draft and just be like, do a draft and then do daily challenges, right? And like try to get yourself up to your next draft.
Right.
And like, but like my assumption is that you can kind of go like 3-3.
Yeah.
Right. Ideally 4-3 or 5-3. But like you just need to kind of go 3-3. Like you can turn a draft into like you can turn 2 drafts into your next draft. Right. If you do it with like gold, if you're like, I'm going to spend the week grinding out my quests and I'm going to get to enough for like a draft. And this week's draft and next week's draft gives me enough gems for the draft after that.
Right.
And you can just slowly build your collection that way. But, right, like if you're like, oh man, I really want to play this like constructed deck and I don't want to just like be like, it's a lot harder. I think that's when it gets expensive.
Well, especially if we were talking about historic and getting priced out of historic. Like there's no feasible way to do that in historic.
No.
You almost have to have been playing. Because if you're the player that let's double it and let's say you have 30,000 gems, that's 30 packs.
Yeah, 30,000 gold.
Yeah, sorry, 30,000 gold. If you're trying to play, I don't know, think of like Jund Company. You need 4 collected companies and 4 Bolas's Citadels and 4 Woe Striders. Like those are play sets of cards from 3 different sets. So you can't just, open cards or open packs of War of the Spark and say, hey, I'm going to get my Bolas's Citadels. And you can't just open packs from Amonkhet Remastered and say, hey, I'm going to get my companies and, expect to have a deck out of that. If you're just opening packs to get your wild cards, that's just in those cards, that's 12 wild cards. and then 6 packs per wild card. You're like 100 packs.
Yeah.
Like,
And, like,
there's no way that's feasible.
and you
Plus your
don't.
mana base, plus everything else.
Yeah, like you're strategically opening like GRN packs.
Right.
Like, well, I can get my fetch my shocklands there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's not really doable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is like, Saffron Olive was like, what would you pay if you could just buy a bundle of like 10 gold wild cards? And people were on, being snarky on Twitter, I wouldn't put any money into this game because of blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
But
whatever.
then people were like, maybe $10? And someone's like, well, that's just like what 10 packs is. And it's like, well, packs are really just, ends up being like wild cards.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, if they had a deal where it was like 20 wild cards for $15, I think they'd sell a lot of 20 wild cards for $15. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't like $10 isn't 10 wild cards though. Like if you're opening packs.
It's 10 rares. It's not 10 wild cards, it's 10 rares.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right,
but
yeah.
those rares don't necessarily mean they're wild cards.
No, yeah, this is true. But like, if it was $10 for 10 rares, rare wild cards, I think people would be just like, cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I mean, they could also do it like I mean, there's already a business model for living card games. Like if you look at Netrunner or L5R or any of those games, they're called living card games, not collectible card games, because when a set comes out, you buy the set. You don't buy booster packs. You buy all of the cards that came out in the set.
yeah.
I mean, you could do something like that too. Amonkhet Remastered came out. How much would you pay for all of Amonkhet Remastered?
Me personally, not a whole lot.
Well, okay, that might have been a bad example because I also wouldn't pay a whole lot. I mean, I really enjoyed drafting Kaladesh Remastered. I wouldn't want to lose that either.
Yeah.
But
Or
like, what about a normal standard release? Like, how much would you pay to not have to draft Core 21 and just have everything?
how miserable was Core 21's draft? Thinking. It was no Ikoria.
No.
I don't
There was
know.
no Zendikar either. I really liked Zendikar draft.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I think it, like, but here's the thing though, right? Like, if they can get the Saffron Olives of the world, right, and I'm assuming there are other people that are just plunking down money to spend $200 to open, the dirty word, the loot box.
Yeah.
$200 worth of loot boxes, right? They can't charge less than that for the set, because then you're losing money.
Well, I mean, now you're talking an economics problem. Like, how many people are you going to get to step up? Is that going to outweigh the people stepping down?
Yeah, and then we're doing like ninth grade algebra, right?
Right.
If you charge this and less people buy it, like, is that enough to offset, right?
Right.
And I don't know. Like, I don't know if you say like $250 you get the complete standard set.
I think that's a little excessive, but okay.
I picked that number because, like, I mean, they're selling bundles for, like, you can buy both bundles for $100, right? Usually,
Yeah.
because there's like whatever, well, the one, like the Nahiri and the Nissa or whatever, or the Nahiri and the Jace bundle, and they're each $50, and then you buy them together and you get them for like 90 or 100 or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like 100 packs or like 120.
Yeah.
And that's nowhere near the whole set.
Right.
Right? So how many people are doing that? I don't know. Like, I don't think it could be $100. I don't think it'd be like $150.
Yeah. I mean, you have a point. If people are paying for those packs, then it's,
like,
I guess it's kind of a moot point to, move to that sort of system, because it's not like, I mean, I'm not going to pay $200 to have all of Core 21. I mean, I'll suffer through a miserable draft environment before I do that.
Yeah, I mean, and even like bad draft environments aren't awful.
Yeah.
Like, there's usually like 4 or 5 cards. If they were printed differently, the draft format would be like fine.
Mm-hmm.
And like as long as you don't run into one of those 4 or 5 cards,
Yeah.
your draft experience is fine. I'm looking at you, Revenge of Ravens. And stupid sleep. Oh.
Not a fan of sleep, huh?
I lost so many games to like have the board under control, stabilized, and my opponent in like core 20 is like sleep, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yep.
You're kidding me.
That was He Who Shall Not Be Named's favorite card.
Okay. Does he have a nose?
He does have a nose. He's a player at our local game store I'm not allowed to say his name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he asked me not to ever say his name again.
But, right, I mean, yeah, like, I'll spend 3 weeks doing a bunch of drafts. I usually get, like, super sucked in, try to hit Mythic or come awful close.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just like, all right, I'm done with draft. And now I'll, like, play, like, constructed stuff. And heck, a lot of times it's like I've just been playing historic. Like standard has burnt me. I have not gone back. Standard might be great. I don't know.
Yeah, like that kind of brings up a whole nother thing though. Is like part of I forget if Saffron Olive and Pleasant Kenobi both said this, but at least one of them had mentioned about like the pacing of events on Arena and how they're just kind of ramming product down our throat, kind of like they're doing in Paper Magic also. But I'm kind of digging the release schedule that Arena has. Like, it seems like we're getting some sort of supplemental product in between every, like, release. And because you're playing so many more games on Arena, I'm really kind of enjoying the pace that we're getting by having, like, we had Ikoria, and then we had Jumpstart, and then we had Core 21, and then we had Amonkhet, and then we had Zendikar, and now we got Kaladesh. And like I find myself falling into a nice little pattern while I'll draft for a couple weeks, and then for like the next month or so I'll play standard, and then Jumpstart comes out, and then you spend a week or two playing Jumpstart, fresh limited environment, and then you get to spend a month playing historic, and then Core 21 comes out, and you get to spend a week or two playing limited, and then you go back to standard for a month, and then Amonkhet comes out. It just seems to really break up like the formats for me, where I don't feel like I'm getting so burnt out on anything in particular like I felt like when we had War of the Spark and all that, and everything was just all Nissa all the time. Now things seem to be different, and like we've talked about palette cleansers before, right? Where we had like the FNM events or the workshop events or whatever, where it's a different rotating format, and sometimes it's kind of nice to jump into those when you've been playing the same deck for 2 months now while you're waiting for a new set to come out. And I'm kind of digging like the pattern that we're getting into. I've found myself, we just had Kaladesh come out. I don't think I've picked up standard since Kaladesh came out. I've been playing, Kaladesh Remastered Limited and Historic. And before that, I was playing standard because Zendikar had just come out. Before that, I was playing Historic because Amonkhet had just come out. So it's like you just kind of get your fill of a format, and then a new set comes out for the other format. And I've really been enjoying that. So I'm not sure I quite agree with, the people that are saying that there's too many products coming out too quickly.
I think the only thing to kind of support that point of view is that's what ends up making historic and Arena in general more expensive. Right? Like, if there hadn't been Jumpstart to give us Rich Carpima Renegades, then your Rich Carpima Renegades in Kaladesh Remastered would be actual cards.
Yeah, and that kind of goes to your other point, though, where the economy just needs a couple tweaks.
Yeah, just a few
My
things.
point was more, economy aside, I really liked how it's, pulling focus away from a format so you're not getting burnt out all the time. Like, me and you have talked, I think not on the show, but maybe we've mentioned it on the show too, where we've said to each other, if it wasn't for this show, I wouldn't be playing standard right now. I've just had enough of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that the release schedule that we've fallen into has kind of pulled me out of that.
Yeah, it has. I also think that the fact that the card's been so pushed recently, you can't escape the card that's getting on your nerves unless they ban it.
True.
right? You're like, I don't want to play against Uro anymore. I'll go to Historic, and you're like, oh, I'm playing against Sultai. Oh, Uro, cool. You know what? I'll go to Modern. Oh, Uro, cool.
Yeah.
I'll go to Legacy. Uro. I will donate a kidney and I'll go to Vintage. No Uro. Oh man, my back hurts. Yeah.
It's Oko instead.
It's Oko instead.
He turned your kidney into an elf.
Yeah, no. I only had one Oko. Why?
He made a food. It's a kidney pie.
It's kidney. No. No, I had to sell my kidney for this Black Lotus. Right, but yeah, just being able to get to a different format. But I mean, they're really like, right, like if you don't like limited though, like they just kind of like shake up the whatever format you're in, and they're just like, hey, buy a bunch more wild cards, use a bunch more wild cards. You're like, I don't want to draft Kaladesh, but I want to play this energy deck, even if it's not like Marvel. You're like, all right, I need 4 Bristling Hydras and like I need 12 uncommons. You're just like, all right, get rid of all of these.
I think you're right. I'll concede that point to you.
Yeah, so if you don't like limited, like it is just, or, you know, your job is to make constructed Magic content, which is a weird thing to say. I think our last topic, speaking of different formats, is someone had said, like, tell me why there's no fun format on Arena. And, well, one reason is because they've printed cards in 2019 and 2020.
Good point.
And they just forgot what the design principles were that made the game really popular from, like, I don't know, 2013 to 2017.
Yep.
Right. You know, I don't know. Energy aside. Like, if you were to throw energy out of that, you'd be like, oh, these are some great designs. Cool. Yeah. Right. But they kind of forgot what made the game good. Right. But there are still places for you to find fun games of Magic on Arena. And the first place I say that you can go to have fun is where there are no ranks. Because the thing that often stresses me out and makes it less fun is watching that stupid little graphic tick down.
Oh, yeah.
After a
watching your rank incinerate.
Yeah. Now, I understand that, you know, the unranked queues, for some reason, aren't just, what was that? Ladies looking left tribal. Like, they're not just people, like, playing fun decks. It's just, like,
people practicing their good decks before they get on the ladder.
Yeah, just D-Gens playing mono red constantly, and it's like, dude, like, let's agree to, like, not do anything until turn 3. Can we? Right, let's have
gentlemen's agreement. Well, you need to have chat in order to make that happen, though. We don't have chat, so.
Hey, we're gonna have fun. No, damn it. Okay, fine. But right, like the answer to this, I think a lot of times is like Brawl. Right, where you can just go and you get a variety of play experience, both because you're playing singleton and because you're playing against a lot of different decks that are built differently.
Yeah, and also like Brawl is more appealing to like more casual minded people in general. So you're not going to get people that are, you know, spending their time hanging out in the ladder in the Brawl queues for the most part.
Or even if you do, right? Like, what is the point of making the best possible Brawl deck?
Yeah.
It doesn't increase your rank.
Nope.
Right? Maybe it helps you, like, get to your 4 wins for the day, like, 10 minutes faster. But, like, there's not some, like, I'm sure I could go find, like, top Brawl decks somewhere on the internet. But I don't think people are, like, scouring the internet for what they need to, like, what net deck to bring to, like, Brawl.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to play Brawl today. I had a quest that was cast 400, or cast 400. Cast 400. Cast 40 green spells. Some multiple of 10, I'll get there. It's 40. And I was like, I'm just going to put together, like, basically a mono green Brawl deck.
Hmm.
and play Brawl till I cast 40 green spells. Cool. And that's what I did.
Yep.
Now, I will 100%, if you have a mono blue commander, I am, I don't know, 70% to like concede to you on the first counter spell. About 90% to concede to you on the second counter spell. And
Yeah.
100% to concede to you on the third counter spell.
Yeah.
I'm just
So
like, nope,
real
this isn't
quick
fun.
story. We had Historic Brawl as the FNM event last week,
Yep.
and I built Scarab God
Okay.
because I wanted to reanimate things. Except there was a whole bunch of spells that I wanted to play and not very many creatures. So I thought to myself, oh, well, how can I make Scarab God good? Oh, I'll just reanimate my opponent's stuff, right? So I filled my deck with like mill and interaction and stuff. And I think my entire event lasted 4 minutes because my whole deck was removal, mill, and counter magic. And I would counter something, kill something, scoop. Counter something, kill something, scoop.
Yep. Like
Yep.
as soon as I'm like, God, this isn't fun, I'm like, concede.
Yeah.
There's no point in me continuing. I've made someone perhaps happy because they got their win,
Yeah.
and I have made myself happy because I'm not playing against Ashiok anymore.
Or Baral.
Or Baral. Oh my god. Baral's in. They had to ban him in 1v1 Commander.
Yeah. I think he was banned for that event too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or like, Teferi Time Raveler. Like, come on. I'm out.
Yeah.
Like,
No, thank you. Don't even want to see my opening hand.
I'm done. I know what's going to happen here and it's going to suck. So there's that. You have down here that you have Snap conceded like on a mulligan. You get
Yeah.
you get a free mulligan in Brawl, but like if you're going to go to 6, no, done.
Well, a lot of times I won't even mulligan. Like I'll see that my hand's terrible and just pack it in.
Hey, that free mulligan
I don't
is
even
faster.
want to think about it.
The free mulligan's faster than going
Probably.
back in the queue. But yeah, go into 6, nope, concede.
Yep.
Right? So like I think you can kind of set yourself up that you can, find the kind of matches you want to play. Now,
Yeah.
like I said, the best of one unranked standard or historic queues is just like a sea of mountains and sadness, right? Like that is not going to be like where you want to go to just like relax and goof off.
Yeah.
Right? Because your opponent's going to be like, you're dead on turn 4. And you're like, dude, I played a Cetessan champion. I just wanted to like, relax here and like, put some pants on him and draw some cards. You did on turn 4. It's like, okay, cool. One of us needs less Red Bull, but thank you. Cool.
It's
right?
the one with all the mountains.
Yes. Right. But right, like I think you have to know that like that queue for whatever reason is that.
Yeah.
Though again, tinfoil hat, I have like put in all the pro red creatures after playing against mono red like 8 or 10 times in a row and been like, all right, Cerulean Drake, let's
It's
go.
your time to shine. Bro.
And put him in, and then it's like, no.
Now it's all tiny bones.
Yeah, now it's all, it's like, no. What? I didn't play against any of these other colors. What is this? All right. So the other thing I look forward to, and the place I'm like most likely to like get all 15 wins for the day, are the F&M events.
I agree. I love the FNM events. Mainly because you don't have to buy into them, I think is why I like them a lot. They're different than the festival events. And I guess we can talk about this when we get to the festival events. But yeah, I really like the FNM events too.
Right, so one, they give you like some weird format that you would not otherwise be able to play.
Yeah.
And right, you get players playing those formats who might not normally play them.
Right.
So again, maybe there is a reason to have the like best possible historic artisan deck. Right? But there probably isn't. There's people aren't net decking. They're like, you know what? I really like Improbable Alliance. I'm going to make an Improbable Alliance deck.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the thought process.
Right.
Right? It's not like, oh man, how can I squeak out the like highest possible win rate with my Improbable Alliance deck? It's like, you know what I'm going to do? Improbable Alliance and Ominous Seas. I'm going to do that and cycle a bunch of stuff. It'll be fun.
Yep.
And that's what they do. And so, like, you can be like, oh, I really like, you know, putting pants on things, so I'm going to play, like, some, like, Hexproof Auras deck.
Yeah.
Cool. That's what I'm going to do.
Yep.
And you can just do that and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's no rank, so there's no stress. There's no, like, entry fee, so you're not like, oh, man, I've got to break even.
Yep. There's no loss requirement, so you just play till you're done. You're not.
Yeah, and you're just like, you know what? I'm going to sit back and do this and just not worry about stuff. Right? And I think that's great. So the next kind of group of like things are the festival events.
Yeah, these ones are kind of all over the place. I like the festival events less than I like the F&M events. The first difference is that the festival events cost some form of currency to enter, usually some amount of gold, which I'm not like always fine with. A lot of times, I mean, we just spent a whole bunch of this episode talking about how we approach like the release of a set and how we're trying to get as many drafts in as possible. So I like to try and save up my in-game currency for more drafts. I don't really love that, you know, I need to spend some of that gold on trying to, you know, win games with a pre-con deck to get like some alt arts.
Yeah, those are like the when they do a special event that is just like play this pre-con brawl deck.
Yeah.
Like for free. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, pay me money so you can play a C- deck.
Right.
Or, you know, the like, or when there's one that like clearly feels better.
Right.
And then people are like, then they have to come out and be like, oh, the win rates were really close. And it's like, I played the games. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I know one felt bad. Right. But like that for free. Good on you. I haven't played him, like you said, like I would rather save my gold for drafting.
Yeah.
But like if you don't mind plopping down 500 gold to have like access to a like low stress, presumably different format with, you know, hey, it's block constructed or whatever.
Yeah.
Then great. Like I think that is a good place to kind of go.
I was just going to say, I don't think I did any of the Zenda cards. None of the card styles were worth the time and money combined to me to put effort into it. I did do whatever the most recent one was where you could get the Fatal Push promo.
Yeah. I am of the mindset that like if I want that art, eventually it'll show up in the store.
Does it though?
I don't know. It's going to.
I don't recall seeing too many of the alt art stuff. Normally it's just the card styles.
Fair. It might be. Or I'm just not going to have it, which I'm also cool with. The thing I miss that they haven't done in a while, like I think in February they did it, maybe, was like the Omniscience draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get my money to draft divinations that I get to cast for free.
Yeah, I don't think they did that. They haven't done that in a long time.
I was doing Omniscience drafts in a hotel when we were at an event.
Yeah.
That was in February.
Dumpster fire open.
Yeah, I haven't done one of those in a long time.
Yep.
So that's the last one I remember doing because like I look forward to those. I was like, all right, sure, I will like spew money on this deck that's going to be 40 cards.
Yeah.
Of just random stuff. I'm going to have 5 cards I'm not going to play. But like any format they want to just be like, yeah, here's the Omniscience draft, I'm in.
Yep.
I'm like, cool. I actually tried to get our LGS to do that.
An Omniscience draft?
Mm-hmm. I gotta explain the concept. I was like, yeah, like it would just be something different.
Mm-hmm.
But then the world ended, so
Right. Yeah.
yeah. And then I've not done any of the pay to enter events. I recently looked at it and thought like I could totally go 4-3 and like, make my money back, get my 3 IRCs, no ICRs.
Yeah, ICRs.
And call it good.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I brought these up is I've taken to less competitive Magic content, so I've watched a lot of like MTG Goldfish stuff. And Krim is the only person I know of that plays the events, the like pay to enter queues.
Yeah, like the challenges and stuff.
Yeah, not like just whatever they're called. Like they're almost like the league where you like, you know, 7 wins with your best of 1 deck or 3 losses, or 5 wins and 2 losses with your best of 3 deck. Mm-hmm. He plays those all the time. Mm-hmm. And the like format in there always seems to look very different than what I see on the ladder.
Okay.
And now granted, like you're playing Historic and Goblin shows up or whatever, but it's not like he just plays 4 straight matches of Goblins. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, okay, there's variety to it.
Yeah, I've done those once in a while. I don't do them very often. Normally it's like, if I'm 1,000 gold short of getting another draft or something, I'll jump into one of those to try and earn 1,000 gold real quick.
Yeah, see, we're at that. You're at the hey man, I'll totally just be positive on this. It's just easy money. It's easy money. I got 2 pro points. I'll earn 1,000 gold. I'll totally be positive. Doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, they're pretty easy to come out positive on, I think.
Yeah, I think at like 4 wins in the best of 1 queues, you're like, that's even.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's 3 wins in the best of 3.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, it's also like, if you've already done your challenge for the day or whatever, it's like the only way you have of earning gold real quick.
Yeah, this is true.
Oh.
So those are all the like kind of ways I look for. Like, I think if you're not having fun, there's something on Friday typically for you to have fun with, except for when, Momar Vig breaks.
Ugh. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that one.
Yeah, Momar gets a little old, but it is just like brain dead. Like,
yeah,
there's part of me that's like, oh, hey, I spun the wheel and I got the Grizzlebrand and you didn't. I'm a genius. I win. And when you spin the Grizzlebrand, you're like, concede. And you just go to the next one. Right? Like, you just like wash it away.
That's not what Magic is about for me, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's almost no strategy to Momir.
Every so often you have to attack.
Right.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like, is this a format where I skip my 2-drop, or is this a format where I play my 2-drop?
Yeah, that's about the only like strategic choice. That and like which lands to play. Yeah. Because like the people that are got super deep into Momir on like MTGO.
Yeah.
Like they figured out which mana symbol was on the most activated abilities.
Yeah.
So they would like, oh, you should play this land and discard this other land because there are more red activated abilities than any activated ability in the game or something. So you need more mountains.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have gone too deep.
Too deep.
Science has gone too far.
Yep. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, you're just supposed to show up and like click the little icon and get a dude. And be like, oh, I wish I had a mountain here. Meh. It's fine. This activated ability is like a creature you control gets like +1/+0. Big deal. I don't think it's going to come down to like people just playing random 8-drops.
Yeah, I mean, let's start making 3-drops. See if you can get a Dryad of the Elysian.
So I think there are fun formats, but just like I tell people with movies, right? I have a wide range in taste in movies, and sometimes my taste in movies skews to like the bad, but that's because I set my expectations.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know that if I go to watch Resident Evil, I'm not expecting high cinema. I want Mila Jovovich and zombie kicking.
Yep.
And the movie gives me both of those, sometimes in varying degrees of goodness in the Resident Evil series, but I get Mila Jovovich and I get zombies that are kicked.
Yep.
Cool. I can like this. But if I'm like, I want to watch a good movie, right? Like, I'm going to like watch Parasite and I want to get the feels that I want to think, right? Like, okay, I can do that too, but I'm like, I'm not expecting Mila Jovovich and zombies. Like, I'm experiencing a different thing. So I think that like Magic has enough range, and Arena periodically gives you a chance to kind of experience all of the range. Right? Like,
yeah, depending on like what kind of time frame you're talking about.
Yeah, right. Like, if you really like historic brawl, about once a month that shows up as like the F&M at home format.
Yep.
Or if you really like the historic artisan or just the artisan event, that's going to show up once a set release, maybe like twice or something, where you're going to have an opportunity to play that. Right? Yeah. It's like finding the thing that you like to do that like is there all the time. Or like finding the thing that you don't like about a given thing, right? Like a lot of times like I just don't have it in me to like deal with like a bunch of losses. Right. So like I don't want to deal with like rank at all. Like I'm going to sit here, I'm going to play till I reach my 4 wins and my quest, and my quest is cast red spells. I'm going to take my standard mono red deck that is no longer standard legal, and I'm just going to run it into things in the best of 1 queue. And that's that. Fine. So, and it's like, you know what? I'm going to do the thing, and I'm not going to stress about any of it. And like if I lose a bunch in a row, it's fine.
Yeah.
So like finding the thing that you're like, I don't enjoy this. And it might just be like, I don't enjoy the style of game that's getting played in this format right now. Like, well, then find a different format, hopefully. Now, granted, if you hate Uro, he just follows you around. Not in standard anymore, but he just follows you.
Every other format.
You're just like, oh, God. But yeah, I think there is something for everyone. It's just like being able to find it.
Yeah, I agree.
So like don't give up on it because like, you know, standard's bad or whatever. Like you might really, really like I said, historic brawl. And it's just like, okay, I've got to find my chances to like play that. Or, you know, get in the mindset of like, I need to get more wins in these other formats so I can get more packs so I can like get more cards for my brawl deck.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, okay, I'm doing this because I really like playing brawl and I want whatever that Nyx is it. Nyx whatever.
Ancient.
Nyx Blue.
Yeah.
I had one of those out today and I activated a Castle Garenbrig and it gave me 18 mana. And I was like, oh my God.
Could you spend it all?
Yes.
Wow.
I spent it all. I did it and I like cast a questing beast, the fight mammoth, and I had a Vivian on the battlefield and I had down ticked her so I could go get like a Kogla.
Wow.
And then I cast like 2 more creatures after. Like I was like, oh, I still have like 8 mana left. Well,
Stonecoil Serpent, you eat up the rest.
It was like, whatever. Like, this is ridiculous. But like, yeah, you just find your spot. And like, you know, I hit Mythic in Limited every so often. And like, but I don't really care about rank. So like, don't stress out about that. So with all that, we were very arena focused today. I think we have a show.
We do have a show.
So if you have any ideas for future shows, because we are in December where we are typically Magic typically slows down.
Yeah, we are certainly late on content. I don't think I have anything on the books for episodes. I'll have to verify that, but we need ideas. Let us know what you want to hear about.
Yeah, unless you want like a card by card breakdown of a Bob Ross secret lair.
Ooh,
Ooh.
a
Oh,
pretty
look at
little
it.
tree on that mountain.
Yeah, look at that happy little tree. Oh, that's a happy
Yeah,
little accident there.
that's
Um,
right.
you can tweet at us at Casual Tripod.
Yep, you can hit us up on Facebook at CasualTryHardMTG. You can also drop us an email, show@casualtryhardmtg.com. If you're looking to pick up any singles or Christmas presents or whatever doing your holiday shopping. If you're looking to get Magic stuff, please use our TCG player affiliate link, tcg.casualtryhardmtg.com. Anything you use after or anything you purchase after following that link, we'll get a small sliver of to help keep the show rolling. If you want to support us a little bit more directly, you can do so at patreon.com/casualtryhardmtg. Don't forget about our Discord channel. There's a link in the description. There's a link on Twitter. There's a link on Facebook. If you can't find a link doesn't work for you, shoot us a message, drop us an email, let us know, and we'll send you a personal invite to get into our Discord. Again, show ideas. If there's something you guys want to hear about, please let us know.
And with that, we will catch you on the internet.
Yep, we'll catch you on the internet.